Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Going to start off first of all by talking about a signing that we haven't made, right? But really interesting, this signing yesterday, and it's Liverpool yesterday signed Fabinho from Monaco, said to be for a fee of round about £44 million. Now, you might be asking to yourself, why am I talking about a Liverpool signing? Because it's quite significant that Arsenal actually tried to hijack the move and make a late bid to get Fabinho to Arsenal. That's according to Sky Sports. They were reporting that heavily yesterday, that Arsenal tried to hijack the move, but Fabinho in the end decided that no, I'm going to Liverpool, and Liverpool have signed him, and the deal, as I said to be worth around about £44 million. Now, very interesting for me looking at this. I mean, quite significant. It tells us quite a lot of things, really, about Arsenal's transfer policy at the moment. And interestingly, I was reading yesterday where Emmanuel Petit, ex-Arsenal legend, turned around and was saying that, he was being asked about Unai Emery, and of course he'll know about Unai Emery's time at PSG, being French himself, and he said that, listen, Unai Emery is a brilliant manager, excellent. He reminds him of a young Arsene Wenger, was his words, which is very encouraging to know. But he also went on to say that Arsenal need to give him the funds or he's not going to achieve anything. Arsenal need to give him the money, and this 50 million, 60 million talk, that's ridiculous. He needs a lot of money to rebuild this team and get this team challenging again. Now, significant this Fabinho thing, because number one, Fabinho's chosen to go to Liverpool over Arsenal. We don't know how late it was that Arsenal came in. Maybe Fabinho had already given guarantees and just thought, I just can't go back on this. But significant in that he's chosen to go to Liverpool. And we have to be honest right now. When you're looking at a team like Liverpool, if you're a football player, they're not idiots. Liverpool is a better proposition than Arsenal right now. They've got Champions League football. Their profile is very high at the moment, having reached the final of the Champions League. They've got Jurgen Klopp as the manager. They've got a really exciting team with Salah, Firmino, Mane. And it's kind of no surprise that a player like Fabinho, who, coming from the French League, who traditionally would have been the sort of player that Arsenal would have got, has chosen to go to Liverpool instead. He sees Liverpool as a team on the up. At the moment, he's probably looking at Arsenal thinking, well, I don't know. Maybe they're moving up now. They've got a new manager. Maybe not. But he's chosen to go to Liverpool. Also shows you the sort of money that needs to be spent to get these sort of players over the line. Yeah, it's £44 million, a lot of money for a defensive midfielder. But Liverpool have got it done. And Liverpool are spending big, £75 million on Van Dijk, £44 million on this guy. They're bringing in Naby Keita. Again, the other thing that is showing us is that, to get into the top four, which I think a lot of fans are looking at and saying, first and foremost, that's what they'd like to see Unai Emery do, get Arsenal back into the top four. To get into the top four is going to be very, very difficult. Because, as I said, look at the spending by Liverpool at the moment. This is Liverpool, who traditionally not been huge spenders. At the moment, they're spending big. I know with this deal, they're probably going to lose Emre Can, so it makes sense for them to bring in Fabinho as a sort of player to replace him. But still, they are spending big money at the moment. And remember, Liverpool finished fourth last season. So if you're looking at it, look at some of the teams you're going to have to overhaul to get into that top four. Man City, Manchester United, they'll go big again. There's talking in buying Bale and things like that. Tottenham Hotspur, they're not big spenders, but they've got a very good team, and they'll spend again this summer to strengthen that team. We've got an established team. And now Liverpool spending big. And don't forget, Chelsea finished above us as well. And we all know that Chelsea, they're going to bring in a new manager. They're going to go big as well. So to get into that top four, it's going to be very difficult. This is why Petit is right when he's saying about spending big. But then one of the more encouraging things about Arsenal trying to hijack this move, maybe that shows that this £50 million that we've all been told that's what the budget is, maybe that's not true. Because if they were going to look into, you know, spend nearly 40 odd million pounds on one player, that would have been like the most of the budget done. All right, and I know you can turn around and say, well, Arsenal will probably be shifting players out as well, which is probably true. They probably are gonna. But that would be a significant amount of money spent. So maybe that £50 million that we've all been told since the start of the season through various media outlets, maybe that is a bit of a myth, and there is a lot more money to spend. But certainly I kind of agree with Emmanuel Petit when he says we need to spend big if we're going to get into that top four. I mean, you know, the teams above us right now are spending big. They're going for it. We're not going to be able to just, you know, get little average players and get into that top four. That's my opinion. You know, it's going to be tough for Unai Emery. Yes, he's a great tactician and stuff like that. But ultimately, to win the big games, you need the big players, as we saw the other night with Real Madrid, and when they're able to bring a guy like Gareth Bale off the bench. And I'm not saying that that's the level of spending that we're going to be able to do right now, because I'm being realistic. But certainly, this guy needs to be given a big budget if he's going to get the players he needs. One of the players that looks like he's definitely coming in, I think it's going to be announced probably over the next couple of days. We've been talking about it since the start of the summer window, and that is the deal for Socrates. He's going to be coming from Borussia Dortmund. Fee, as I said yesterday, it's going to be somewhere between the region of about 15 to 17 million pounds. But it's all but wrapped up, it seems, and he will be coming in, and that will be Unai Emery's first signing, or should I say Sven Mislintat and Raul Sanelli's first signing, and he will be coming in as an experienced centre-back. I've kind of made my thoughts on it. He's a decent pro, good professional. I don't know, I would have liked to see someone a bit more. Listen, maybe I don't want to judge him too early. He's experienced, and we're going to need experienced players in that position. Another guy that Arsenal apparently looking at in that centre-back position is another experienced centre-half, and plays for Juventus at the moment, Mehdi Benatia. He's now 31 years of age as well. Juventus apparently would be willing to offload him this summer as they look to kind of rebuild their team. And apparently they'd be willing to take round about £20 million for him. Now, again, another guy's a very experienced centre-back. A centre-back that we've been chasing for quite a while. We were chasing him when he was at Bayern Munich. We didn't get him. He ended up going to Juventus. And he is a very solid defender. No nonsense, Mehdi Benatia defender. But again, 31. It's, as I said on yesterday's show, amazing that we're looking at all these players now that are like over 30. You know, and we all remember Arsene Wenger's famous policy where basically when you were 30, you head into the knackers yard, mate. You were done, you know. 1 year contract at best you get off of Arsene Wenger, but interesting now that Arsenal seeming to be looking at a lot of these sort of very experienced players into their 30s, not having a problem with taking on these type of players at the moment. But Arsenal linked today with Mehdi Benatia. There's still the links to the young Turkish player Kaglar Soyuncu of Freiburg. He is a young player. He's only 21, valued at about £35 million by Freiburg. And of course, you know, as I spoke about it previously, you know, they're not denying that these links are in place. Soyuncu's team. Soyuncu himself said that, listen, he's going to wait until after he's been with the Turkish national team before he sort of begins talks with Arsenal. And this is still definitely in the frame. Turkey played last night. They beat Iran by 2-1. Soyuncu, by all accounts, had a pretty decent game. And Arsenal had their scouts out there watching him very, very closely. Apparently, there was also scouts from Atletico Madrid. They're another team that are really interested in Soyuncu as well. And Soyuncu has also said that, you know, listen, I'm flattered by the interest in Atletico Madrid. Again, we're going up for a player where the competition has got Champions League football. I'll tell you, over the years, we may have laughed when Wenger said top four is like a trophy and getting in the top four and that, the significance. It makes me laugh now when you see all these other teams like Liverpool, Tottenham, you know, oh, it's brilliant, we're in the top four. You know, we used to get slated for it, but we do see the importance of it. The amount of money, for starters, that you get for being in the Champions League in comparison to being in the Europa League is absolutely huge. You know, it's significant. And it does help the spending power of those teams in the top four. So, you know, it's only the pity was, well, every time we was in the top four, that money seemed to be going towards the building of the stadium. And maybe one day that will all come out. But, you know, it's significant, the top four, and, you know, plus as well, players want to be playing in the Champions League. When you see a final like the other night, every player's there dreaming, you know, I'd love to be in that. The profile of that is similar to the World Cup. They want to be in that biggest game, you know, when that comes round every year. So Soyuncu thing, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Another old-timer that looks like he's nearing completion at Arsenal. Again, we've spoken about it a lot on the show. Stephan Lichtsteiner. That, again, could be wrapped up as soon as this week. Lichtsteiner, of course, the Swiss international who plays for Juventus, knocking on a bit, we know, but would add a lot of experience to Arsenal's team in the right-back position. Still got a lot to him, actually. He's not a player that's finished and worn out. There's still a little bit left in him, and he will act as excellent backup to guys like Hector Bellerin, and also had a lot of experience in that dressing room at Arsenal. So Lichtsteiner does look like he's going to be on his way into the club. Again, let's keep our eyes out and see if that is a deal that is done this week. Emil Forsberg, spoke about it yesterday on the show. That, again, is still something that is being spoken about a lot at the moment. That would be a big signing. Forsberg is considered one of the best players in the Bundesliga. Also under Arsene Wenger, we're looking at Forsberg and we're really interested in him, the RB Leipzig player. But it looks like Arsenal have stepped up their interest in him. And I noticed in the comments yesterday, some people were saying, oh yeah, all right, Arsenal really going to pay, you know, £50 million for Forsberg. Yeah, all right, Robbie. But listen, again, if they're looking to pay that sort of money for Fabinho, maybe Forsberg could be a player that Arsenal are definitely after, and maybe it might not just be rumours. So it's interesting. It's interesting. The other interesting thing, going back to that Fabinho thing, actually, is the fact that Arsenal are trying to get a defensive midfielder. At last, it looks like they're recognising the fact that they need to replace a player in that position. But if they would have got Fabinho, what would that have meant for Granit Xhaka? Would Granit Xhaka be staying at Arsenal? Would Arsenal be moving Xhaka out? Maybe I'd suggest that they will keep Xhaka and they're going for a more out-and-out defensive midfielder. But certainly encouraging that Arsenal are looking at a player in that position, because, my God, have we needed a player in that position over the years. The only thing is, as I said, shame that we didn't get that done, because I think Fabinho is a quality player. That is a good signing for Liverpool. Shame we weren't able to get that done, but let's hope that Arsenal can keep looking and find a defensive midfielder, because I think that is a position. You know, if you spoke to every fan at the end of last season, what were the fans saying? Goalkeeper. Looks like Arsenal are looking at a goalkeeper. Bernd Leno could be the guy. Centre backs. Obviously, Socrates is one they're bringing in. Maybe Soyuncu, right? You know, I would like to see Koulibaly or something, but maybe I'm dreaming. And a defensive midfielder. Apparently tried to go for Fabinho, and a winger, Emil Forsberg. He's not your out-and-out winger, but he is a winger. So maybe it looks like Arsenal are looking at the right areas at the moment, but will Unai Emery have the right funds to get the top quality players that are going to be able to push us back into that top four? That's what we're going to have to wait and see. Thanks for watching the show today. Don't forget, AFTV are going to be doing the World Cup. Lots of World Cup coverage coming up from next week, so look out for that. We're also going to be at the Legends game this weekend. Arsenal Legends are playing Real Madrid Legends at the Bernabeu. We're going to be going over there. We're going to be doing some coverage of that, so look out for that. That's going to be great. But thanks for watching the show today, and we'll be back tomorrow.